On Wednesday, Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin stumped for Arizona Republican gubernatorial nominee Kari Lake. Youngkin stressed that elections have consequences, urging voters to deny Democrat Katie Hobbs the governor's mansion. Recent polls show Kari Lake beginning to build a consistent, if small, lead on Hobbs. Youngkin is no stranger to close upset victories, having won his own race against Terry McAuliffe last year in a come-from-behind victory. The Virginia governor, who is limited to one term in office, is considered a potential 2024 Republican presidential contender, and stumping for candidates in this cycle could help him build a network for a presidential run.
I just like that part of that song where it says you have to have a friend named Jesus. Thank you so much for letting me come join you. Kari, you are awesome. I gotta tell you, I was flying here and thinking about all of the things that make Arizona so great. Besides Kari Lake. I mean, okay, so you never have to change your watch. You're to the right of California. But at the heart of it, it's the grit, the determination. It's the understanding that there's dignity in work and that freedom and liberty matter. That is the Arizona spirit, and that's what makes Arizona great. You see, that same spirit is the spirit of Virginia. And we are linked across this great nation, yes, over 2,000 miles apart, by a true belief in values, shared values, not Republican values, but American values. And you see, what the left liberal progressives are trying to do is squash those values. That's what they're trying to do. You see it every single day, and I will tell you something that I want everybody here to remember, that they can squash them fast. They can squash them fast. You take your eye off the ball and you lose an election, because remember, elections have consequences. And the next thing you know, everything can change. I watched it happen in my beloved Virginia. I watched it happen. You see, during the pandemic, Virginia was locked tight, shut down to the point where our kids didn't have full-time education until September of 2021. Small businesses were pushed out of the window. In Bristol, Virginia, all the businesses were shut. In Bristol, Tennessee, right across the border, they were wide open. We watched law enforcement demeaned and demoralized, and we had leaders who, instead of standing up for law enforcement, stood up for the criminals who were rioting in the streets and, oh, by the way, killing innocent people. That's what happens fast. And worst of all, we in fact saw left liberal leaders tell families that getting an education on a 12-inch screen is a quality education, and that you are not allowed in our schools. And oh, by the way, parents, you don't have a role in your child's life. And finally, we are going to teach your child what to think as opposed to how to think. Friends, it can change just like that. Elections have consequences. And that's why Arizona is so important, and that's why it's so important that you elect Kari Lake as your next governor. And see, there's a red wave sweeping across the country. A red wave that may have found its headwaters in the Commonwealth of Virginia last year. But this red wave, again, it's not Republicans against Democrats. It's Americans waking up and saying that the left liberal progressive policies are ruining our country. And we are all saying enough, enough, enough. Friends, you know, what's amazing is last year in Virginia, all of those smart commentators, they said no Republican can win in Virginia. Virginia's too blue. And let me tell you, we were pretty darn blue. all of a sudden the media is not going to let you win. The suburbs are controlled by the left liberals, but they forgot to do one important thing: ask the voters. Virginia is not blue. Virginia is the home of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We breathed it into our nation. And the spirit of Virginia is alive and well. And let me tell you, Arizona, you're going to have to fight to preserve the spirit of Arizona by electing Kari Lake. That's what you got to do. See, you all know this. I'm going to tell you something you all know. But the distinction couldn't be more clear. I mean, do you want your taxes to go up? Katie Hobbs does. Do you want your border wide open with fentanyl pouring into this country? Katie Hobbs does. Do you want to demean and defund police? Katie Hobbs does. Do you want to see inflation run away and steal all of your hard-earned money? Katie Hobbs does. See, I think that you just vote her out. Good line. That's what you're about to do. This is what she believes. This is what Katie Hobbs stands for. And again, Arizonans know it. And they're about to make a huge, huge statement and elect Kari Lake as your next governor. You see, you got Katie Hobbs and Joe Biden together. And let me tell you, they are agents of chaos. Everything they touch gets worse. Inflation is running away, and what do? More runaway spending, driving up gas prices, making grocery prices run away from families, letting loose that silent thief of inflation that's stealing thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars from hard-working Arizonans, Virginians, and Americans. Crime's going through the roof. What do they want to do? Demean and demoralize law enforcement. We've got a wide-open border that is an absolute national catastrophe, and what do they want to do? Invite more in. Friends, they are agents of chaos. And America knows it. It's no wonder she doesn't want to debate Kari Lake. Come on. Let's go ahead and rehearse. What about inflation? Winner, Kari Lake. What about crime and standing up for law enforcement? Winner, Kari Lake. What about our border and keeping our nation secure and fentanyl out of the hands of innocent Americans? Winner, Kari Lake. No wonder she doesn't want to debate her. See, that's your call. What we know is this is about freedom and liberty. See, the left liberal progressives fully believe they know better. See, we know a little bit about freedom and liberty in the Commonwealth of Virginia. I mean, the greatest words ever written in this hemisphere were penned by a Virginian. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, and among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You see, these are not rights that are given to us by a king or by elites in Washington or Phoenix or Richmond, Virginia. These are rights that are given to us by God Almighty. And we have to defend them. We must defend them, which is why it is time for Arizona to go to work, because on the ballot is the great progress that Arizona has made. Listen, Governor Ducey has brought taxes down. He's introduced school choice. And I'm telling you, Katie Hobbs wants to take it all away. That's what she wants to do. And it is time for Kari Lake to shift into high gear and drive Arizona forward. Let's be clear. See, I like Kari because we have a lot in common. So, she was a janitor for a while, and I actually washed dishes and took out trash. That's where I started my whole career. My dad lost his job, and that's what I had to go do. I had a career doing something else, and one day I quit my job and said, I'm going to run for governor. Sound familiar? Had a career, quit her job, running for governor. I'm telling you, you have an outsider who brings fresh perspective, who doesn't cower to take on the hard issues, and you can drive change. And that's what you're going to get from Kari Lake. That's what you're going to get. So here you are. You got 20 days. 20 days to make this happen. This is a bit like a NASCAR race. Let's just be clear, all right? In the NASCAR race down the stretch, you got Katie Hobbs puttering around the inside lane. And here comes Kari Lake on the outside, whizzing on the outside. And guess what happens? You start scraping a little paint. And one thing I love about Kari Lake, she's not afraid to scrape paint. Because that's what it takes to win. They're going to bring everything. They're going to bring everything, and we are going to push back and win this race. But we cannot do it alone. It's going to take all of you. All of you. And here's the work that has to be done. You all have to go find 10 friends. Not 10 friends that are here. And oh, by the way, 10 friends are going to vote the right way. Right? And your job is to get them to the polls. That's your job. And oh, by the way, your job is to get them to volunteer to support this election. See, in Virginia, we had 5,000 volunteers working the polls last year. 5,000 poll watchers, election observers, handing out sample ballots, keeping an eye on things. That's what we have to do, is get out and do the work. And then you got to make sure that everybody walking around Arizona has a Katie Lake hat. Everybody walking around Arizona has to have a Katie Lake t-shirt. Everybody's got to have a sign in their front yard. Kari Lake, I got you. Everybody's got to have Kari. I'm just going fast. I will say that sometimes Southern boys who are taught to talk slow have a trouble when you get into high gear. But everybody's got to have a hat. Everybody's got to have a sign. Everybody's got to have a bumper sticker. Because the reality is the winning team is the winning team. Elections have consequences. And I'm telling you, if Katie Hobbs wins, the consequences for Arizona are going to be dire. It's time to go to work. Friends, listen. The great thing about Kari Lake and the great thing about Republicans in Arizona is we are on the winning team. We're on the team that stands for low taxes. We're on the team that stands for strong families. We're on the team that stands for safe communities. We are on the team that believes that small government and low regulations drive business. And oh, by the way, we can drive business for American-made products. We are on the team that believes in patriotism and freedom and the unbridled opportunities that come with it for all Arizonans and all Virginians and all Americans. We are on the team that believes our schools must teach our children how to think, not what to think. We are on the team that believes that parents matter. Friends, this is your moment. You got to get this done. Whoever works the hardest down the stretch is going to win, and nobody is going to outwork Kari Lake. Nobody. So here's our moment. Here it is, right here together. Right here. We're locking arms, and we're pledging. We're making a covenant with each other to go do the work. It is that important that we must get this done. 10 friends to the polls. 10 friends volunteering. Hats, t-shirts, signs. Get this done. Because the future of Arizona, and by the way, the future of America depends on it. Friends, this is again not about Republicans versus Democrats. This is about shared values that bring people together, independents, and guess what? A lot of Democrats come together around these shared values, come together around the spirit of Arizona because they know it's right. They know it's right. And when we win collectively, we can build that city on the hill that we know Arizona and Virginia and America must be. So are you ready? Let's go do the work. Let's get this done. And let's elect Kari Lake the next governor of the great state of Arizona. God bless you.